Okay, hey friends. So tonight I want to talk about mindset. I really think that all of us, including myself, are just in a funk, right? Like everyone is because of 2020. And so I started looking, and instead of just your regular things, I found 9 ways to really make over your mindset. So I want to share those. And I get pretty passionate about it as I'm talking through some of these things today, but I want you guys to know that I'm really talking to myself. It's not that I have the perfect mindset and I have it all figured out. So when I say these things, please know that like I am saying it to myself. So I'm going to share my screen, and that's basically to keep myself on point, so I don't just ramble. And so, the first thing is that when it comes to mindset, we have to remember, and this was a big kind of eye opener to me, that we don't get what we want, we get what we prepare for. Okay, there's a famous quote that says, man doesn't get what he wants, man gets what he prepares for. And I realized I am not prepared for diamond. Like when I really look inward, and that's hard to do, I think that's what makes this business so hard, is all that looking at yourself in the mirror. I am not prepared to be a diamond. I am not taking care of my customers like I should. I'm not doing follow-up like I should. I'm not building leaders like I should. And so it's a smack in the face. But part of that mindset is preparing for what you want. And if you think about it, when I saw this quote, and there's a huge kind of TED talk on you get what you prepare for. I'll talk about that here in a minute. But I realized that we do that for everything in life, right? So like if we want a job, we don't just get it because we want it. We prepare for it by either going to college or getting trained in a skill, right? If we want a house, we don't just get it because we want it. We prepare for it. We save money. We get approved for a loan. We have to have good credit, right? Even sometimes if you want a baby, you don't just get it because you want it. You prepare for it, or you at least practice for it or try it. Usually, not always, but almost anything in life that you want, subconsciously even, we've been preparing for it. And so this shouldn't be any different. In fact, your mind must arrive at the destination before your life can. And before Plexus, I would have heard all this stuff and I would have thought, oh man, that sounds like kind of crazy talk, but it's all rooted in science. And the science will tell you again that you can't be successful if your mindset is not prepared for success. So if you still have head trash, if we still have head trash, if I still have head trash, and it doesn't align with being prepared for success, it's not going to happen. And I can give you so many examples from myself and even things that I've heard, from other people. It's, well, I'll go ahead and follow up with her, but she's not going to want to do Plexus. Oh my goodness. Like, would you want to do Plexus if that was the attitude? But that is the head trash that we have. And we know that what we say becomes reality. So to me, when I really think about what's going on in my head, well, shoot, it's no wonder I'm not successful. I might be doing all the motions, but I really am not prepared for success, right? So when you have those thoughts like, well, she's not going to make a post about Plexus, or he'd never do this business, or you know what? He's not going to want on the team page, I'm not going to add him. Or if you say, I can't believe I'm not gold yet, or I'm stuck at silver, no one wants this business, everyone's quitting. Those are the things that you're preparing for, because those are the things you're focusing on, okay? And then we also want to stop that projecting, right? Because, we're projecting that onto other people most of the time. Most of the time, people do want to join Plexus. They do want to try it. They do want in the team page. So we're actually taking then away their success options before they've even had a chance to decide or even know about it. So the story we tell ourselves becomes our reality on the outside. So what is your story on the inside? What are those thought loops, right? Because that is what is happening. And I can tell you, it was a huge eye opener to me, because I was like, oh my goodness, of course I'm not getting these things, because in my mind, my thought loop is not preparing me for success or preparing me for what that is. So when I'm talking to you tonight, we're going to get into those 9 here in a minute. I just want to say again that I'm coming to you with love, but it's really me saying this to myself in the mirror. I just think other people can relate to it, because I've been where everyone has been. I've been where you are. I'm probably where you are right now, but I've been someone who's worked over 40 hours a week, who commuted to an office. I've been silver. I've been someone who has struggled a lot. I'm someone who gets in a funk. And let me tell you, when I get into a funk, I don't know if it's a word, like a professional funker, but like when I get into a funk, I do it all the way. And I'm talking like head trash, and then I don't do anything. I don't do anything for my business, don't do anything for my house. I don't do anything. So I've been there, right? I'm no different than you. The only difference in any success I might have in between those funks or in between the head trash is the grit. Okay. And grit by definition is just a character strength. And it's like a muscle. You can flex it, you can develop it, right? It really is about perseverance of effort. So I'm going to show you here on this next slide. Grit, really what grit stands for. And this is where that TED Talk comes into play, because having grit is really connected to our mindset, okay? So grit is about growth, like how likely are we to seek new perspectives, new ideas, try new things, right? Because this business is always changing. So we have to be able to, what worked yesterday so well may not work tomorrow. We have to be resilient and bounce back from adversity, especially when you have the head trash or you get in a funk. You have to be resilient and come out of it. If not, you'll want to quit, right? And then that instinct about going after your goals. Like I can remember I was successful in the beginning just because I had this instinct that it was going to happen. And I had this tenacity and this persistence and perseverance that I was going to do it no matter what. I didn't know how, right? But Angela Ducksworth, so if you have a chance to look up her TED Talk, she says this, and it's really good. She said, grit is important because it's the driver for achievement and success. Being smart and talented and having the skills are great, but you must have the ability to persevere, because without grit, your talent and your intelligence and your skills will be nothing more than unmet potential. And I thought, man, that is so good. But often we tie that to our mindset, right? We don't have the perseverance and the resilience and the instinct and the growth because we're stuck in that funky mindset. So having that grit means you stop waiting for the right mindset. You stop waiting to have the perfect schedule. You stop waiting for life to like not be as crazy. Grit means you do it anyway, right? Just like any job, heck, even parenting, if I'll be honest. I hope she's not listening, but like there were times in my day job, I did not want to show up and do it. There are days I don't want to be a parent, but you do it anyway, right? That's grit. And that's the same thing with Plexus. There was a post earlier going around of a diamond who said, I loved what she said, it was Lauren Collinsworth. And she said, look, guys, I'm successful, not because I have it all figured out, but every single day I push through and I do one thing for my business. I don't do 100 because there's some days where like life is messy, but I push through the mess just to get one thing done, even if that's messaging one person or connecting with one person on my team. And so that's what that grit is. And it's so tied to that success mindset. It's so tied to being prepared for success. Are we thinking on the inside what we want to be prepared for on the outside? So how do we get our mindset to line up so then we really can have and use this grit, right? Because grit, you may think some people are just born with it and some people have that, but it's not true. It's just something that's developed and it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. So the first thing, here we're coming into the 9 ways to really make over your mindset. And I know we've done a lot of mindset work before. Some of these I just thought were really good and really, really different. So you really need to understand your why. And this is something we talk about a lot, especially in this business, but I think we get away from it because you know what, this month, I'm not doing it for the blender. I don't want to add 6 ambassadors for the blender, right? I'm doing it so I can show Adelaide that you can be, that's my daughter, that you can be a present mama who's invested, but also wildly successful in her own business. I'm doing it to show her that you can accomplish hard things and big things and that there are no limits on what you want to do, right? I'm doing it so if her daddy wants to stay home one day and stop the rat race, that we would have a nest egg big enough to where he could do that. I'm doing it so when she's 16, we can go to Europe and I don't have to worry about a budget. I'm doing it so she's not pigeonholed into thinking you have to either be a mom or you have to have something you're passionate about and you love, right? I'm teaching her not to settle, that she can have it all. The blender just happens to be a bonus. And those are things that'll keep maybe you motivated in the short term. They're fun. They're fun to go after things. I'm certainly motivated oftentimes, and I work my business harder in certain months for a specific incentive than I do for other incentives. But really, when it comes down to, it's not about the incentive at all, right? It's about that why. So you've got to stay connected to your why. And it's hard. I have gotten disconnected from my why. In fact, when I wrote that earlier today in my notes, I got choked up because I was like, oh my gosh, that's actually my why. Like, I've forgotten about that. I have been so focused on all the other minutia and crud that comes with a business, I really forgot that's why I'm doing it, okay? And so then you also want to visualize your success, okay? So what does it look like to you? And what does it make you feel like, okay? So many successful business owners, athletes, entertainers will tell you they can credit much of their success to this mental imagery. And I can remember before Plexus, if someone had said, just visualize it and that'll help make it happen, I'd been like, no, I'm too busy doing the work to make it happen, to like visualize the outcome. But it's true. You don't just wish it. You honestly visualize it as if it has already happened. So put yourself on the beach in Mexico. Put yourself taking your husband to pick out a new car, right? Picture your kids on a vacation that you didn't have to budget for. Picture yourself in Nordstrom at the shopping spree. Now, it doesn't mean that just because you visualize it, it is going to happen. But again, it gives you that mindset. So our internal thoughts become external, and it prepares us for that success that we want, right? We get what we're prepared for, not for what we want. So part of that preparation is that mindset work in visualizing your success. And then another thing is changing your point of view or your POV. This is the third way to make over your mindset. You got to ditch the victim mentality, right? We've all been there. Like, I totally have been like, oh my gosh, like, I can't keep my level ones. Nobody's silver. People have quit. People have stepped back. Like, quit it. Like, why am I focusing on that? Of course I'm not recruiting people. I'm too woe is me freaking out and being upset that I've lost people, or shaming and guilting myself for not supporting people. Because I know I've lost people because I haven't done a good enough job, like, loving on them. But if we want to move forward in our mindset and our business, we have to let go of that. We got to ditch the victim mentality, and we have to take responsibility for where we are right now today and regain control where we're headed. Because who cares if somebody quit? Who cares if somebody was rocking and rolling in the business and decided that for them, they had to step back? That's not on us. That's something they had to do, but their lack of success in your mind should not affect yours. And it's a simple choice, this change in POV, in your point of view, that can make or break your happiness with your goal or your business. And also it can either propel you forward or it can keep holding you back. So that's a big one. The next one is really big too. And I'll tell you, it is calling out your cop-outs, because we all know that we can be experts at finding reasons why we can't do something. I am almost like genius level expert at this, calling out your cop-outs. But what's hard, and again, what makes this business so hard, is you really got to look at yourself in the mirror and call yourself out on it. And if you're really lucky, you've got like a bestie who will also call you out on it, right? Without you like wanting to throat punch them. But first you got to look at yourself. Like, when you find yourself making excuses, and I'm a genius at making excuses when it comes time to exercise, 100%. My business is more important. Oh, I got to pick the kiddo up. Oh, I already showered. I don't want to get sweaty again. Like, I am an expert. But guess what, guys? We allocate time for the things that are important to us, and we make excuses for everything else, okay? So because I feel like I'm failing at my business, then that's the excuse I give for not doing my IPA. Well, guess what? Then in reality, my business is not a priority. Sitting on the couch and watching Netflix is, right? So we have to call ourselves on it. You have to change the dialogue, and even say, and we'll talk about this in a minute, like instead of saying, oh, I have to do my IPA, like I have to, I need to, say, oh no, I get to, like this is important to me. I actually have the time, I get to do it. So if you find yourself constantly coming up with excuses and then feeling guilty and having that shame, you really need to call yourself out on your cop outs. And it can be hard. It can really, really be hard. You also want to adopt a growth mindset. And if you aren't sure the difference between a growth and a fixed mindset, there's a great kind of visual on here. A fixed mindset, and it's not that you say these things out loud, these are just those like internal thoughts you have, and some of them are so subliminal you may not even realize you're having them and that they're holding your back. But it's like, well, you know, I don't do live, so I can't go live on Facebook, even though you know to grow your business you need to do a live, right? Or, you know, I can't do it, or I'm not good at it, right? So often, how many times, because I'm guilty of it, have we said, have I said, well, because I'm not this rank, because I lost this person, maybe I'm not so good at this, right? No, that's a fixed mindset. You need to have a growth mindset to make over your mindset, right? Those with a growth mindset see failure as feedback and an opportunity to improve. Excuse me. They take the fear out of failure, because they remember progress is not linear, setbacks are expected, and improvement does not happen overnight. In fact, the more we get comfortable and just expect in this business that people will quit, then the less it's going to affect your mindset. I was at a training once, and they said, listen, in your Plexus business, there are going to be times where you pour your heart and soul into somebody, and you love on them, and you give them so much of your time, and you build them up as a leader, and you train them, and you know what? They're going to quit, and you're going to want to say, well, I won't make that mistake again. Like, I will not spend that much time on somebody again because I invested a lot and now they're gone. That's a fixed mindset. If you know ahead of time that part of the business means you're going to pour your heart and soul into people. Some are going to stick and some aren't, but that doesn't mean you change your growth mindset because some people fell off, right? And definitely resist the temptation when it comes to growth mindset. A lot of us get in that fixed mindset because we're comparing ourselves to other people, and we're all guilty of that. We all are guilty of that. It doesn't matter. And you know, we've said it again, doesn't matter how fast you go. What matters is that if you just improve by 1% every single day, so if you kick your business up or your mindset up 1%, over time, those results are going to compound and you're going to be successful and you're going to have that success mindset that you need. Let's see, 9, 8, 7. The sixth one, I believe, I think we're on number 6, is redefine your success philosophy. This is when I have had an aha moment. And actually, Sarah Taylor, she had this, I believe it was last year. Her and I were at a retreat, and there was a speaker who talked about redefining your success. And she realized that her success, her definition of success to her actually was peace in her home, peace in her relationships, and just peace. It actually wasn't a diamond rank or earning the shopping spree or earning the jewelry or earning the blender or, you know, being on the leaderboard. It was actually peace. And when you redefine your success philosophy, you get out of the stuck mentality. Now, for her to have peace in her home and relationships, sometimes that means you need to have the diamond income, so then you're debt free and you're not fighting in your home over money. But she redefined her success and no longer tied her success to that rank, to that number, or she didn't tie it to her self-worth, right? Because when you decide what is successful for you, then you let go of the shame when you have not met a rank or have not met a paycheck number. And so often we attach, excuse me, I don't have COVID, I promise. I just have, it's because I'm talking. When you redefine it and you detach from that rank, what's going to happen is your mindset's going to shift. You're going to be like, I am successful. Oh my goodness, like my home is peaceful. Then guess what you've just done? You just prepared yourself for more success. Oh my goodness, my friends. You have to reframe your goals. This is a huge one because this business is so tied to rank and points and subscriptions, and we can drive ourselves crazy over that. So you have to reframe your goal. Your goal this month, my friends, our goal is not to get 6 people to get the blender. You know what our goal should be? Your goal has to be things that you can control. We can't control if 6 people are going to show up. This is great. I'm going to start having a coughing fit. Excuse me. Sorry, friends. I may have to text my husband to bring me a cough drop. This is good.
Sorry. Want me to chime in about reframing your goals?
Yes, please.
Okay. So, Amy was talking about this earlier with reframing your goals. Instead of having a goal, I'm not going to say this as well as Amy does because there's just no possible way. But instead of having a goal of 6 people, I want to add 6 people because that's the end. It's what are you going to do? What can you control? You can't control whether or not those 6 people are going to sign up this month. You can't control that. What you can control is I'm going to talk to 6 people on my team today. Tomorrow, I'm going to talk to 6 of my customers. The next day, I'm going to send out 6 samples. I'm going to post on Facebook 6 days this week. I mean, I'm using the number 6 just for fun. But I'm saying you could, even if it's 1 a day, do the math. 1 a day is 30 in a month. That's incredible. But that's what you can control. That's what should be on your goals for this month. And guess what? When you're doing those every single day, it's a really good chance that those 6 are going to happen because you're constantly working. You're constantly working your business and you're constantly engaged in your business.
Yes. Thank you, Amanda. I now have a cough drop, so hopefully this will not be terrible. But the other thing that does, it also means we as leaders, we have to shout our people out for reframing their goals. Like we have to really get to know them and know, okay, they did message 6 people. That's what I'm going to shout out and celebrate. Because if you focus on what you can control, right? Because again, we can't control people that are going to join us or going to order. We can't control that. But I can control how many people I message. I can control how many people I invite to an event. When you do that, you'll actually feel more motivated. It's easier to hold yourself accountable, and you're going to feel more productive in your business. And like Amanda said, that consistency then is going to lead to business success. I love this one. Okay, so when I saw this one and it said, you need to learn a new language, I was like, oh my goodness, oh, this is like brilliant. You have to choose your words carefully. We are talking bad to ourselves. I do it. I am so mean to myself. In fact, my friend Kim has started calling me on it, and she will tell me, she's like, be nice to my friend, right? So you have to choose your words carefully, not only the ones you speak to others, right? Marion did a training on that the other day. Like there's some words we use them all the time, but when you're trying to build that relationship, there might be words that maybe aren't not bad words, but just like different language. But this is really about learning a new language for number 1, for yourself. This is at the heart of your mindset. Let me give you an example. I body shamed myself, right? I put on COVID weight and I have not been exercising. So you know what I tell myself? I yell at myself in my head. I am like mean. I'm like you're lazy. What are you doing? I should myself. And my business coach, I was like, I don't understand. Like, why can't I get up and work out? She was like, I wouldn't work out if you talk to me the way you talk to yourself either. If your trainer talked to you like that, would you go work out? And I was like, oh my gosh, no, I wouldn't. It's the same with our business, right? It's the same language. So you have to change the words that are in your mind. And some of them are so subtle. 2 easy swaps that you can start with when it comes to learning a new language. Do not say, I have to do my IPA, right? Or I have to do my follow-ups. Instead, say, I get to. That is a simple language change that is a huge mindset shift. Because here's the thing with our brain, and I meant to say this back when we were talking about visualizing your goals. The science shows that your brain actually does not know the difference between if you went on the trip to Mexico or if you visualize the trip to Mexico. When it comes to that visualization or being there, your brain activity is the same. It can't tell the difference, okay? But your brain can tell the difference with the negative language, okay? And you can start to build patterns. So that simple shift of I get to is a positive, like, yes, I get to do this versus, ugh, I have to. And another one, which is why I said I always should myself, instead of saying I should go do this, I should send those samples, I should do follow-up, I should have been on that team call, say I choose to, right? You choose to send those samples. That brings power back in your mindset and power back in, in your business. Your thoughts, excuse me, your thoughts dictate your actions. And the last one, QC, the company you keep. QC is quality control check. And this one can be hard. Okay, I want you to think about the people you spend most of your time with, especially in this Plexus business. We become really good friends with people that were strangers before. They're now our besties and we hang out with them all the time and we love hanging out with them. But they may not be good for our business. Now, that doesn't mean you quit hanging out with them, right? But think of the people you spend the most time with. Do they make you feel good or are they draining? I had a friend that I was friends with for years. Sorry, guys. I'm so embarrassed.
Don't be embarrassed. It happens to all of us.
I choose to not be coughing right now.
I choose to not be embarrassed.
I had a friend who, friends for years, and always kind of, had kind of a feeling of like down when we when we part ways. Didn't think anything of it till I started doing stuff like this. And I realized that person drained my battery. Like that person drained my battery and brought nothing else to the table. So if you surround yourself, here's the thing. If I want to lose weight, but I'm hanging out with people that are body shaming and like crazy counting calories and diet obsessed, and they're like that victim mentality, that's not going to help me. It's just going to bring me down to their level. It's the same thing with our business. And this is where it can be hard in Plexus. Because you're in a group, you're in a message thread. You've been to convention together. You've been roomies. You've gone to retreats. Now you're friends and you do girls trips, right? But in the beginning, your businesses were both on the same page. But then one friend started to change. One friend started being a little bit more of a victim and went beyond just like the everyday growing pains of it's okay to complain every now and then or be frustrated, but they never moved past that into growth, right? And so that's where it can become hard. You want to surround yourself with people that have the growth mindset, the success mindset, the ones who say, okay, those people quit. How can I learn from that? That is not failure. How can I learn from that? And if you are not, it's okay to step back. It's okay to leave that message thread. It's okay to not do that challenge. Where it becomes difficult is if you're really, really good friends with them. So what that means is you're still friends with them, but you really need to find other people during business hours to hang out with. Find another power group that does have that success. Now, the other thing, because if you're hanging with positive, empowering people, then I like to say high tides raise all ships. That is what you are going to end up aspiring to or thinking, right? They're not going to bring you down. They're going to bring you up. Now, This is huge for social media. Guys, you have got to unfollow people. You got to block people. The minute someone is like a super negative Nelly, I'm out. I don't have time for it anymore. If somebody quits my team and they go to another company, I don't want to see what they're doing. Unfollow, block, whatever. I had somebody who, if my team went to another company, it was saying super nasty, untrue things about me. And people were like sending me screenshots. I'm like, stop. I don't care. That is not on me. That has nothing to do with me. She might be saying my name, but none of that is true. I don't need to see it because that affects my mindset. The other thing that I've had to do on social media, there are people, Jules, that I consider like my cohort, that we kind of started the business together or we're in momentum together, and they have just totally been way more successful in my mind than me. And they're fabulous. They're not negative on social media. Their posts are great, but I have to unfollow them because I play the comparison game and the shame game. So there have been some that I am friends with in real life, but I can't see their stuff on my feed because it starts putting me in a funk. So that also is something you may have to do. Excuse me. When it comes to QCing the company you keep, it doesn't always necessarily mean you cut out the negative Nellies. It can also mean you have to protect your mindset if you see something that triggers you to play the comparison game, play the woe is me game, or go back to that fixed mindset. So, my friends, I coughed through half of it, but I hope that was helpful. I will share my notes in case I missed anything. But I also feel like when it comes to all of this, we should always be working on it. But now more than ever, we got to show ourselves grace, right? And we have to realize like, oh man, it's hard for all of us right now. That doesn't mean this business isn't for us. It doesn't mean we're terrible at it. It doesn't mean anything. So sometimes I feel like let's all work on our mindset together, but let's also show ourselves some grace.